Hi everyone, I'm going to present to you a solution for a tricky little object-oriented programming problem that we were presented with earlier. If you're not used to the idea of object-oriented programming, there are some things you will see in this video that will shock you and horrify you, and probably scare you enough to not want to look at object-oriented programming ever again. However, if you take your time to think about what is being presented here, you will have the best time of your life as you continue to study this amazing subject. Alright, let's have a look at the problem. A candy store sells candy. Surprise, surprise. Each item of candy has a name, I imagine that will be a string, a 3-element double array, and this array will store the weight, the sugar content, and the price of the candy. So we have two object variables here, a string and a 3-element double array. The task is to design a constructor method for the candy class. Every time a candy object is constructed, a pointer to a string object and a pointer to a 3-element double array are passed as parameters into the object and stored safely. Whoa, let's read that again. Every time a candy object is constructed, a pointer to a string object and a pointer to a 3-element double array are passed as parameters into the object and stored safely. A mind bender. This sounds quite tricky, but if you really think about it, it's easy peasy. You need to understand the idea of pointers. Every time a candy object is constructed, a pointer to a string object and a pointer to a 3-element double array are passed as parameters. Well, let's do that right now. I've started to design my candy class. These are my two object variables. I've got a double array here called candy info, and I've got a string called name. I now need to start to construct a constructor method. So I design a constructor method. So public constructor, what am I thinking about? Public candy, yes, thank you. So here's my constructor method. Let's just make a note of that. I know it's a constructor method because it has the same name as the class. Hence, it is a constructor method. Now, there are two things that we are passing to this constructor method. A pointer to a string and a pointer to a 3-element double array. Well, this is how to do it in Java. First, we'll make the pointer to the string. This is name, right? So I'm just going to call it n. And then a pointer to a double array. Don't worry about the size, but it has to be a pointer to a double array. And it's about candy info. I'm going to call this CI. So when we construct a candy object, our object variable candy info will be assigned this value. These pointers will point to the same double array. And we also have this and this will point to the same string. So name is going to be equal to n, and candy info is going to be equal to CI. That's a small case C. Now if I were you, I would pause this video right now and look at that code for a few minutes. See if you can understand what's going on. Remember, n is a pointer to a string. CI is a pointer to a double array. Candy info is also a pointer to a double array. Name is a pointer to a string. Now here, name is pointing to the same string that n is pointing to. And here, candy info is pointing to the same double array that CI is pointing to. Okay, to show you how this works, I'm going to go to my main program, and I'm going to construct a string called n, or name, whatever, and I'm going to say that's equal to Snickers, everyone's favorite candy bar. I'm also going to create a double array, which is going to be a 3-element double array. And I'm going to say that, oh, let's give it a name. This is candy info, right? Let's call it candy info, whatever. Doesn't matter what it's called. So, candy info 0 is going to be equal to 3.6. Candy info 1 is going to be equal to 5.3. Candy info 2, the third element, is going to be equal to 7.5. Mysterious random numbers from my brain. Now I'm going to do something crazy. Every time a candy object is constructed, a pointer to a string object and a pointer to a 3-element double array are passed as parameters. Well, here we have a pointer to a string, and here we have a pointer to a 3-element double array. So when I construct a new candy object, I'm going to use my constructor method. Here it is. And it expects a pointer to a string and a pointer to a double. Okay, a double array. Well, the pointer to the string is called name, and the pointer to the double array is candy info. And that is it. If I run this program, I will construct a new candy object in computer memory. And that object will store 2 pointers. One object variable is pointing to a string, and another object variable is pointing to a double array. Now, if you don't believe me, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to create 2 accessor methods. Public string getName. This is in my candy class. This is a candy class method. Public string getName. Return name. And I'm also going to make public double array return candy info. And this returns this pointer to the double array. So candy info. Return candy info. Just a pointer. It's not really a double array. It's a pointer to a double array. That can take some time to get used to. So I've got 2 accessor methods, which will allow me to look at the data outside of the object. Okay, we've got getName and we've got return, let's call it get candy info. Alright, back to my main program. I'm going to create a string called name. No, let's change that. What can we call? I don't want to call it the same thing as this, that's all. String candy name equals C1, which is our pointer to a candy object, C1 dot getName. So remember, C1 dot getName returns a pointer to a string. Well, that's what candy name is. Candy name is also a string. So candy name will point to the same string that this is pointing to. I could do the same with double array candy stuff is equal to C1 dot get candy info, Because getCandyInfo returns a pointer to a double array. And now, let's display the data. System.out.println. The candy name is plus name. And now I need to loop through this double array to reveal the candy information, the candy stuff. So I'm going to use a for loop. For int I equals 0 to I is less than candy stuff dot length I plus plus. We're just going to loop through it, and we're going to do system dot out dot print ln. Let's just say one piece of candy info is candy stuff I. So we're going to display the name of the candy that's stored within the candy object. I've just stored it here, sorry. I've stored it within a string. And I'm also going to use a for loop to loop through the double array that we're getting from the object that we constructed, this C1 object that we constructed here. Okay? Now let's run this and see if it works. I have got an error here, but I'm just going to see if this works. Let's have a look. Candy info cannot be resolved to a variable. Candy info cannot be resolved to... Oh, it's a small I, isn't it? Candy info here. That's a small I. We'll run it again. The candy name is Snickers. One piece of candy info is 3.6. One piece of candy info is 5.3, and one piece of candy info is 7.5. Well, that's what we set up. That's what we passed into the object. That happened there. And then we went and we retrieved that information in our main program, and then we displayed it. Take a good long time to think about what you have just seen. That's tricky stuff.